Welcome back to Wake Up Northwest. In this week's Madeline Motivates, life has seemingly been on hold for months now. With nothing to do, nowhere to go, and not much to look forward to anymore, this pandemic may have you feeling stuck in many areas of your life. This morning, a local motivator is sharing her advice to help you move forward. Danette Layne, speaker, author, and full potential coach, is on the phone with us right now to share her tips to get unstuck. Good morning, Danette.
Good morning, Madeline. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've been feeling pretty stuck recently. Some of the goals I set at the beginning of this year are just not possible to achieve because of the pandemic. So I'm curious to know, why is feeling stuck such an uncomfortable state of mind?
Right. Well, nobody likes to feel stuck, and I've learned to actually like it. And here's why. Because it's a sign, it's a signal. Because feeling stuck, or the feelings of frustration you have because you're not making progress, like you were just talking about in your goal, are really indications and they're like a sign to us that we're in a form of resistance. And although all of us are familiar with being in resistance, we think it's natural, but it's not our natural state. Our natural state is a state of flow. And there's a bit more to flow that I can't go into in our time frame here, but you've experienced the state of flow when you're doing something and you lose track of time, and that's what being in flow is like, and that's our natural state. So when, for example, we set a goal and we're working toward it and we feel things are blocking us, things like COVID or quarantine or changes at work or school or people are messing up with these plans, when we feel blocked or frustrated like that, it's very typical. What we've done, all of us, is we engage in activities that we think is going to move us forward. We get a new action plan, we create a vision board, we get a new to-do list, we get our positive affirmations, we work through the weekend. And Madeline, sometimes these actions work, but they're not sustainable. And I know because I've tried them all. But I like to use the analogy, it's like paddling upstream. And what I found is that the key to getting unstuck is not overcoming it with action, but rather dismantling the thoughts that are setting us up for getting stuck and in this state of resistance. So it's like figuring out how to float downstream and not working so hard to paddle upstream.
Right, that's a great analogy. So how would you say that we can learn to float downstream?
Well, I have 3 tips I want to share with you that help release this resistance, get us into flow, and kind of like get on the inner tube, right, and float downstream. That's really more fun than paddling upstream. So number 1 is have goals, but wear them like a loose garment. Wear them like a loose garment and detach from the outcome. Because when we're so attached to the outcome, we get rigid, and that's where resistance and honestly, that's where the stress creeps in. So my mantra to remind me to stay fluid and in flow is this or something better. So detach from the outcome, this or something better. And number 2 is, if you obsess, focus on the essence. Like, get into the heart of what you want. Ask yourself why this goal is so important, and find a way to feel the feeling word, feel your way into that importance, and let the feeling of the essence of your goal guide your actions. Because if you get back into the why, like, let's say you want to increase people listening to your Tuesday morning, when you get into the why of why that's so important, that you want to drop a positive seed in people's lives, then that will guide you back into flow. I promise that'll work. Number 3 is to pay attention to what is brought to you. So you might have your goal and your action plan and your list, but pay attention and be open to what is brought to you. Be willing to give up what you think you know and the plan that you think you must follow, because awesome things might come your way. So my mantra to remind me to be open is, I'm willing to allow this to unfold.
Oh,
and
that is so beautiful.
It's really about releasing all of this attachment and resistance and rigidity.
Oh, such beautiful advice. Thank you, Danette, so much for sharing your outlook with us on this morning. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Well, if you're feeling stuck, I say embrace it. No matter how long this all lasts, just remember that it's just a season. Trust that it will pass, and as Danette so beautifully suggested, use this time to learn to float downstream.